Hello everyone and welcome to Teachopedia. In this video, we will be going to learn about data visualization with matplot library of Python language. So before we get started, let me give you a small introduction about data visualization. Data visualization is the process of translating large data or a data into a form of different charts, graph, and other visuals. The resulting visuals can be helpful in making decisions, identify some trends, and get some insights through that data. It's very easy to understand by the help of different charts, and eventually it's useful in making some decisions. For example, we plot some sales data by month, and we can easily find that what are our hot months in in like what are our hot months in which our sales goes up and what are those months in which our sales goes down. So we can eventually find out the categorization of our good months and bad months, and we can make some decision out of it. It is also helpful in detecting errors, and in the end it is very we can easily create some storytelling out of those data, and we can easily use different form of charts and plot some story out of that data. So that's a small introduction about data visualization. So what is matplot library? Matplotlib is a Python 2D plotting library which produces different form of chart, and it can easily provide in, it can easily convert our charts into a format like JPEG and PNG. Matplotlib can be easily used with Python scripts, IPython shells. It can be easily plot on Jupyter Notebook as well, and some other web application server as well. You can draw all sorts of charts and visualization using Matplotlib. In this video, we will be focusing on some of the charts like bar graph, pie chart, box plot, histogram, and line chart and scatter plot. To install this library in Python, you will use pip install matplotlib. If you are working on Anaconda, you can use conda install matplotlib. So after installing this library, we will be importing this library. So you should have pandas and a numpy will be a good add-on to get hands-on experience in this video. And if you want to go into the documentation bar of this library, you can easily go into this URL. I will mention this in the video description as well. So after importing this library, we will be creating some arrays and we will be going to plot those arrays using this library. So in this part, I am importing matplotlib.pyplot function, and I am rephrasing that with plt. Now plt dot will be eventually targeting to matplotlib library. So here I'm creating after importing this shift enter, I'm defining some arrays, and I am like plotting these two arrays. First I'm plotting x and y and just showing by the help of plt.show function. So if I plot this, it will easily plot the two arrays by the help of line graph or line chart. So if I want to plot multiple lines in the same graph, I will I will just include another plot function and just give another two arrays. So it will plot two arrays, two lines, and it will plot all three arrays data. So on the x-axis we have x, and on the y-axis we have z values and as well as y values. So if you want to like improve that this chart by readability, we can easily use dot title and define some title. We can define some x label, we can define some y label, and as well as legend as well. So if I run this, it will easily plot this chart, and we will have a title, legend, and label as well. So in the next part, we will be creating a data frame and with some columns, and we will be going to plot those column values. So here I am defining a bd.data frame. I have some random values, and I have four columns. If I run this, we have got four columns with 10 values or 10 rows. So if I use a built-in function of data frame dot plot, it will plot all the values by using line chart. So if I run this and if I use just df dot plot, it will show all column values and it will plot all column values here. And if I want to specify some specific column, I will just mention its name and it will plot its values. So here I have only like one horizontal line, but you get some idea how to use dot plot function of a data frame. So before continuing that, we can define our x and y. We can specify that okay, on the x we are using column 1 and on the y we are using column 2. So in the plot function, we can use different parameters like x and y, and we can plot those two column values. And so continuing that, we can also use a parameter called subplots, and we can independently plot each column values in form of different line chart, but on the same image, or you can say on the same dimension. So here we are enabling the parameter called subplots.true, and we are defining a figure size of 8 by 8 because we have got 4. So we are just theoretically we are defining a 2 2 2 2 for each of the four columns. So if I just plot that, it will plot all four column values in form of line chart, but in different uh, categorization by categorizing different columns. So here we can easily see that we have got some different values of different columns. We can also define a new bar chart or a new chart by using a kind parameter of plot. So here we are using a kind parameter and we are defining not to use line chart because it's by default using line chart, but to use a bar chart. So if I just plot with the help of this kind parameter, so it will plot a bar chart and it will plot all column values. Like here we can see that for each value like 0, we have got four bars because we have four columns. If we have five, it will have five bars. So you get some idea of how to use a bar chart with the help of this dot plot function. So continuing that, we can also enable our stack parameter and we can just use a stack is equal to 2 and it will plot a stack bar chart of those different columns. So here we have single value, but a single bar chart, but we have a categorization in terms of different stacks. So on the blue, we have got one, then so on. We can also plot a horizontal bar chart with bar h parameter or bar h function and enable stack is equal to true as a parameter. So continuing that, we can use dot hist function for using histogram, and we can use it with df.plot and it will plot histogram. We can also go for this type as well. So it will plot a histogram. We can it's same as this thing as well. So it will so both these things will plot the same thing. So continuing that, we can easily plot a different histogram as well with different values, and it will categorize for each column. It will plot a different histogram, but on the same chart. So in in one chart we have four histograms categorization of four different columns. So continuing that, we can easily plot dot blocks plot for each of the columns, and it will plot in the same chart a different box plot. For area, we can use dot area function, and for the scatter plot, we need to define some x and y. So here we are using x and y parameters, but the same procedure df dot plot dot scatter and our parameters. We can also define our customized color or marks, and it will plot by the help of this thing. So for the marker side, it's using star, and for the color, it's using red color. For the pie chart, we can enable our subplot, and it will plot for each column. It will plot all 4 pie for 4 columns. So continuing that, we here we are defining us three different arrays, and we are using plt.subplots function, and this thing will give us two things. Like in return, it will give us two things like a figure and a label as well, axis label. So for the axis side, we can plot our bar chart and set our title or x and y labels and enable legends. And for the plt.show, it will show our bar charts. So here we have different bars and a categorization of man and woman arrays like here. So continuing that, here I'm reading a CSV file, and I'm going to merge different CSV files and then plot those column values. So here I'm reading some meals and like a different form of CSV files. So there are three different CSV files, and after reading these CSV files, I'm going to merge one by one, like all these three with the help of their keys. Like for example, like this meal ID will be merged with this thing, and this center ID will be merged with this thing. So first we will be merging about this df4 with df center, and then the answer will be merged with df meal. So here I'm doing that. We can define a pivot table. It's just for understanding purpose of how we can use this thing. And if I just use a pandas pivot table and give this a data parameter of a data frame, and then for the indexing side we are giving a category column, and for the value side it for so for each category it will give us how many number of orders we have, and for the aggregated side we are using this sum as an aggregator. So for each category we are getting all its number of orders. So continuing that, we can easily plot that thing, and here we are a bar chart representing each of the categories and plotting those values like a number of orders. So here these are for the key side, like there are 7 attributes. So exponent 7 means there will be a 7 digits after it. So don't confuse that. So here I'm like defining the same thing, but to improve that by readability. So here I'm defining some X label, Y label, and a title as well, and then showing that to you guys. We can easily save that thing with this save figure, and it will save our image. So this function will work, and it will save in form of this name. So you can use this thing. Continuing that, here I am downloading a CSV file using this URL, and I am just reading and then plotting the head function. So continuing that, I am just plotting a single column, and then just plotting a single column on the x-axis, and for the y-axis we are defining some uh, we are passing an array in which we are defining three different columns. So it will plot for each x value, it will plot for all these three lines. So here we are getting 3 lines, and for each line representing a new column value with relation with rank column. So for each rank, we are getting its 25th, median, and 75th value. We can easily see its trend. And that goes to the end of this video. So in this video, I demonstrate and I implement some charts, and I give you an introduction about what is data visualization and how you can use a matplotlib library of Python and plot some different charts and use some, after reading the data, how you can utilize that data and plot some charts out of it. So I hope you like kind of like get some idea of how to use this library. If you have any queries, do let me know. Till then, thank you. Take care.